Since their arrival, the four N15s had made quite the impression in terms of performance, style and attitude. Things that got out of hand was Leo and Tim's arguing, and then having the line's resident, 330, get involved. One afternoon, Tintagel found himself waiting at Estalot for Adam, one of the railway's E2s, to get his goods train ready. But due to the delay of a horse and cart from the town of south of the Estalot, Adam had 3 wagons left beside the loading dock.
I'm going to be late with all this waiting.
Look, mate, it's not my fault you'll be running late. Just remember that.
Tintagel couldn't help but agree, but as time went on, he began to get more annoyed with each second passing. It didn't help when a saddle tank arrived, right as the horse and cart came in.
I thought you younger and more modern machines were meant to be a lot more efficient. Not sure what Daft Pratt said that, but running late is something I would expect a Victorian design to do.
Now, Dennis, it wasn't Tim's fault. It was the horse and cart that was running late.
Excuses. Youngsters these days don't give a damn about their work in the slightest. Then again, there's always even something to replace these newbies.
And with that, Dennis left before anything else could be said.
I'm sorry about him. He's been no end of trouble since he arrived. Just ignore his rubbish. You're all set now, Tim. Safe trip.
Bye, Adam.
Out of all the N15s, Tim was the one that no one on the board took much notice of, as Ellie and Leo were taking the express runs and Cam was helping out with general duties. But then again, he would have been sent away if that had been the case. All the same, you couldn't help but wonder if it was worth being around. He stopped at low light and waited for goods to be unloaded as Eleanor passed with another trial express run. He watched as he couldn't help but feel this worse. It was no secret when he got to the sheds at Sutton that night that he didn't seem to be in such a good mood. "You all right, love?" came a voice trying to get the big engine's attention. Tim darted his eyes around until they lay onto a little terrier.
Huh? Oh, yes. I'm fine. Thank you, Casey.
You sure? Because when I passed you earlier, you didn't see that.
Came another voice, this time belonging to the J27. Tim looked at Cole and didn't know what to say. He didn't make a fuss, so he tried to come up with something, but he wasn't quick enough. "Listen, love, you don't have to tell us if you don't want to, but it's probably best you tell someone at the very least." Tim said nothing, but there was a quiet whisper coming from the back of the sheds, which didn't make him feel any better. But little did he know it wasn't anything to do with him, for Ellie had heard the entire conversation and was rather concerned. The next morning, Tim offered to arrange his own train to surprise Casey and Amy, and soon left.
I can't afford to be late again. There'll be green signals throughout the day.
Though little did he know that later that day he would have a surprise in store for him. Meanwhile, Ellie had decided to go to talk to Damien, who she found at Shirehampton.
I'm really worried about Tim. He's been seeming different recently.
Well, I can't exactly say that I know him as well as you do, but I would recommend keeping a bit of a close eye on him.
I can't promise anything, but I'll try my best.
Eleanor wasn't that confident, but agreed with it either way. By the afternoon, Tim had arrived at Waterbeck Central with a goods train to exchange with a Southern Railway engine when he had an inspector running over to him.
"We have a special train coming in and Sophie is meant to take it, but she's been delayed at Peterson due to faulty points. Can you take it?"
Tim was unsure and expressed his concern to the inspector, but he soon gave in when the signal dropped and he was surprised when he was sitting in his siding, getting the top of his cab painted right, as a Southwestern T14 arrived into the platform with 3 coaches, 2 of which were clerestory coaches. They caught Tim's attention right as some men walked about with white paint posts, and was even more so when he realised who exited the coaches.
King George V? No one told me this was the royal train.
You'll do fine, lad. Just don't overthink it and make sure you don't bounce around.
Tim put on a brave face as the coaches were moved to the IRV platforms. He backed down onto the train, noticing there was also Prince William and Edward there too, but remained calm even as the inspector explained to His Highnesses the reasons for both the delay and the engine change. Tim waited anxiously, and finally the guard soon blew his whistle and the N15s left the station. Tim hauled the 3 coaches out of the countryside appearance at Wartbeck. A Shy Hampton Gabriel, the Adams 395, and a Lion, the Dean Goods, had been shunted to let a special train pass by.
I'm rather perplexed as to what's going on.
Don't think about it too much, mate. Besides, the Frenchies must have had the same when the pair of us would pass with stuff during 1917.
Ah yes, the RAD days.
Suddenly, the signals changed right as, with the whistle blowing and cylinders pounding, Tintagel thundered through the station like a blur.
Was that Tim?
He was the only one that went to Wartbeck in the last half an hour.
Tintagel sped down the line, steam piled into the air from his funnel, and he whistled when he passed stations, crossings and bridges. The fun would soon be over as they came to a talybrid. There waiting on the platform was Lord Inmond.
Hello, Tim. Thank you for bringing His Highness here.
Well, thank you, sir. It was an honour.
King George suddenly exited the train, and Lord Inmond turned and rushed over to him right away, leaving Tim rather flabbergasted. With orders from the station master, Tim shunted the now empty coaches to the yards and out of the way. Sophie took the king and princes back to Wartbeck that evening. As for Tintagel, well, he had quite a story to tell that night. He told it when a lot of the engines were back.
Sounds like you had a good day.
An extraordinary one at that.
I will be honest, I was quite surprised to see you racing past me earlier, but nevertheless, you are most impressive.
A compliment from Leo? I don't believe it.
It's King Leo, and shut up!
The engines then saw a familiar person walking over.
Good evening, all. Hello, sir. What brings you here tonight, sir? I wanted to come and congratulate Tim on his efforts today. His Royal Highness was most pleased with the smooth and quick run.
Tim blushed, but Lord Inmond wasn't done yet.
However, this isn't the only reason why I'm here. You see, the trial for you four ended this afternoon, and the board have been left to make a decision.
The 4 N15s looked amongst each other in both concern and anticipation.
Though surprisingly, after King George's visit to me, he seemed rather pleased with your performance, Tintagel, and after his input to myself and Mr. Hawley, we brought it up with the rest of the board, and their final decision was...
The engine sat in suspense. No one said a word as Lord Inmond looked from left to right.
Excalibur, King Leo de Grant, Tintagel, and Camelot. The board have decided that all 4 of you are to stay.
Sir, do you mean to say that 4 of us are staying?
Indeed. You 4 are just what we need to modernise the railway, if you get my meaning.
All of the engines were thrilled, and Tim, for the first time in weeks, felt a lot better than he did, and stayed up for the night to talk to Eleanor.
I'll be honest with you, Ellie. I honestly thought I was going to be sent away.
Oh, Tim, even though it's not been that long, I can see people on this railway genuinely care about us. They wouldn't get rid of someone who's as hardworking and determined as you. I've known you long enough to know this.
Tim smiled, though soon after, Ellie fell asleep. He stayed up a bit longer and couldn't help but wonder about something he had heard a few days ago from Mr. Edmores, the railway's current chief mechanical engineer. He had gone on about the recent publicity that LNER had been receiving and brought up the idea of getting another engine from them. And then Dennis's comment, "There's always even something else to replace the newbies." And then Lord Inmond's comment about modernising the railway. All of this was to stay on Tintagel's mind for quite some time, but this is all to be covered at a later stage.